Good morning, Hillman and Spratt. United Methodist Church. I hope this message finds you well, and I'm eager to be coming up in a few weeks to see you. At this point, I'll be moving up on the 16th, and I will plan on being there till July 1st when I see you. Pastor Lisa had asked me to share some thoughts about me growing up and where I came from, and just talk to you in general about being where I came from as far as my life, so that you know a little bit more about me. And I grew up in the town of Flint, and when I grew up, it was a much bigger place than it turns out to be now. There was a booming GM town, and now it's a real ghost of what it used to be. It's not the thing that it is. We've had a lot of struggling years in those times. But my heart is still very much for Flint. But I grew up in, like I said, in the Freeman School District area, and that is where the water crisis started, ironically enough. I was not there when the crisis was going on, but it's where I got started. In the 76, though, my parents got divorced and my uncle had committed suicide, and those were very difficult years, and I was in my teens at that time, and so I just was having a hard time. And I was going to Emmanuel United Methodist Church, and at that time there was Pastor Bob Sechrist who was there, and he was a great, good-hearted man who helped me through an awful lot of struggles that I was going through as a kid. And he really began to show me what a real pastor was all about, and I really got my formation of where I am now as a pastor from my ideas of what he was like when I was a kid. But I soon got past that time, and I went to Spring Arbor College. Spring Arbor College was a great place to go. It's now called Spring Arbor University. But I spent several years there learning the psychology and biology, and wanted to become a teacher in science, because science is something that's very much in my heart as well. I enjoy science, and so I went off and started to do that, and I got my degree and was thinking about becoming even a missionary and teaching science and stuff like that as a missionary, but I turned away from that idea and went on to being a teacher. And I came back to the Flint area, and my mom had some health issues, so I stayed home and looked for a job, and I ended up being a teacher at the school of choice where I was. I had graduated from the public school there, but I went to teach at the school of choice there, the alternative ed. And I enjoyed that job as much as I could. I enjoyed the kids and I enjoyed the teachers, but there was many aspects about it that just was very, very stressful and very, very, I did not like. And after about 5 years there, I eventually just turned in my letter of resignation and said, teaching is not for me. And so I moved on from there, and was talking to the pastor at Swartz Creek, where I went to the church then. I had moved my membership to Swartz Creek, and it was much closer. And Pastor J.D. Landis taught me, we talked a lot about where I should go next. And I went back to the idea of being a missionary, but he talked me out of it. And I kind of jokingly say that he talked me out of it. But I decided that I should, because I liked science so much, go back to college, and went to Baker's to become a radiation therapist. And I did very well with that. I loved being a student, and so I went back and graduated a third time with a degree in radiation therapy. But for 2 years, I could not find a job, and I was pretty much unemployed for most of that time. And because I couldn't find a job, I became very angry at God. And God never left my side, but I was angry. And but I still believed that he must have had something for me. And it was at that time the economy had fallen out, and the reason why I didn't have a job. And so I just was very struggling an awful lot, and I went back to Emmanuel to become administrative assistant, a secretary at Emmanuel. And the pastor there was a great person, because he talked me into and showed me the idea that I needed to be a pastor instead of a missionary. And Pastor Pat just was, I appreciate him so much, because he really helped me focus on what I needed to do. And so as soon as I started to focus on that, the Lord led me through several things that I won't get into now, but things that helped me learn how to become a better pastor and broaden my path a little bit to understand that how to deal with people in difficult situations, and to help me understand several things about being a pastor that I would never have known. And that brings me to today and where I'm at now, and I have not regretted my moment since then. Since those days when I was unemployed, I've pursued God and His career path for me, and I've found a job that I'm happy, and I hope to share my experience and my love of God with you when we start on July 4th. God bless.